Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of NicksRealTalk, a brutally honest commentary on relevant social and political topics. My name is NicksRealTalk, and let's get this episode started. Before we begin, I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by 10minutenews.info. 10 Minute News is another podcast on the Stride Network, just like NicksRealTalk, that gives you the most important news and the important news stories in 10 minutes or less directly to your podcast feed. I'm hosting the first few episodes, and a new host will be found after, or I will just continue hosting it. So if you want to check that out, head on over to 10minutenews.info or just search up 10 Minute News in your favorite podcast source, and it should probably be there. So let's get this show started. Alright, so this episode's topic is very deep and very controversial. And it's about the death of Sandra Bland. So I'm just going to break down the factual evidence that we have about this, and then I'm going to spew into my opinion. So Sandra Bland, an African-American female, was pulled over for a minor traffic violation on July 10th, 2015. And she was arrested after an altercation between her and the arresting officer, Brian Encina, occurred. 3 days later, on July 13th, 2015, she was found hanging dead in her cell, hanging by a trash bag. Sandra's death was ruled asphyxiation and a suicide by the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office in Texas. Many are speculating that foul play was involved because Sandra's family is saying that she would never commit suicide and that she was killed because she was an activist against police brutality. Many rumors came out about her being already dead in her mugshot, concluding that the police were behind her death. The police department has since released video of Bland alive, taking her mugshot and making phone calls where she claims she was roughed up during her arrest, which dashcam video does show that. Okay, so here's my opinion. There is no doubt that this death was tragic. But the real thing people are worried about here is, was her death a suicide, or was it murder by the police? My opinion is that this was indeed a suicide. Here is why. I'm one to talk about the facts and not about... I'm not going to base my opinion off my opinion on the police, my opinion on law enforcement. It's about the facts. So the facts state that she killed herself. And there was no defensive wounds on her body, as was in the autopsy report by the Harris County Medical Examiner. Also, when she was arrested, on the intake form, she had indicated that she attempted suicide in the past. And she was very, very high on marijuana, or THC. If that's the same thing, I'm not too sure. But she was high, and that could change your thoughts, and alter your thoughts, and alter your function. And if you had suicidal thoughts in the past, they can come back, especially when you're under the influence of drugs. In any situation, whether you're in jail or just driving, your mind could be so messed up from the drugs that you just kill yourself. It doesn't matter. And then there was the part where Sandra's family doesn't think this could ever happen because of the fact that she was an activist for against police brutality, and that she was killed because of this. I think that's saying that without the facts is actually kind of disturbing, because you weren't there and you don't know the facts. And people are probably going to call me racist because of my opinion. I'm not. I'm a very open-minded person. And therefore, they're not sticking to the facts. They're just spewing out what they think. They're saying she was happy because she had a job. And she just starting a new job soon or something like that. I think, yeah, she's probably happy because of that, but you just got arrested for having an altercation with a police officer, which could get you into a lot of trouble, and you're ridiculously high. I have an exact quote from an article. She had a remarkably high concentration of THC for someone who had been in jail for 3 days, leading to speculation that Bland may have had access to marijuana while in jail. Assistant Waller County District Attorney Warren Daiparam said that it was more likely that Bland had ingested a very large amount of marijuana prior to her arrest. So we need to contemplate that fact in and all of the other facts. So therefore, that's why it's my opinion that this was a suicide and police brutality was not an issue here. But police brutality is an issue worldwide, especially in the United States, more recently in the past year or two. And people are starting to villainize the police officers because of the deaths of Eric Garner in Staten Island, that's where I'm from, and Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. And if you don't know, Eric Garner was choked out on Staten Island in New York, and the grand jury declined to indict the officer who put him in a chokehold, and there was a whole controversy on that. And then Michael Brown was shot for not listening to a cop in Missouri, and there was no indictment there. And there's no criminal charges being filed in the Sandra Bland case as of now, August 5th. So, that's a big issue. And I think people are victimized, I keep using that word, villainizing the police officers because of this. And I want you guys to take a minute and think. If you were in trouble, really you should not be tweeting ignorantly. All lives do matter. No matter if you're black, white, Spanish, gay, lesbian, transgender, whatever you are, illegal immigrant, just regular all lives matter. And if you're trying to take away from the all lives matter and to focus on just one particularly, like Black Lives Matter or white lives, we really should not just be focusing on one specific race. We need to come together and focus on the whole bigger picture. Yes, these minority deaths are more generalized and popularized by the media. And really, we need to do something that everything is, all lives matter. So, with the police, all police officers should have body cams on them at all times, always activated. There should always be cop car dashboard cameras. There should be cameras in jail cells. There should be cameras in jail hallways. Police should be more supervised. But then when I say police be more supervised, I kind of contradict myself, because I feel like the police are under such scrutiny that they can't do their jobs. And I feel like higher up officers, especially New York Mayor de Blasio, is kind of doing a terrible job, because he's restricting the police from doing stuff and taking cops out of places and putting them where they don't need to be, that the cops really cannot do their job. And I feel like, yes, cops should be watched more closely, but they shouldn't be babied, kind of. And we need to let the police officers be able to do their job. So, this is an issue that's going to go on forever. I think there's been no solving this issue. More people are going to die by police ignorance, and police brutality. But the takeaway I think we need to realize is that police officers aren't entirely bad. And there are some rotten eggs, but mostly police officers put their lives on the line for us, and we need to respect that. And we need to not be killing police officers. We need to be respecting them, because killing police officers and disrespecting them is absolutely disgusting and repulsive. And we also need to take away that, yes, Black Lives Matter. Yes, white lives matter. That all lives matter. And we shouldn't focus on just one. We need to focus as a whole, come together and focus on the bigger picture. All lives matter. So I want to know what you think on this. I'm kind of sorry if my thoughts were all over the place. This is just a really sensitive topic, and I wanted just to get my problem. I just said a different word. I want to get all my thoughts in there, and I kind of just jumped around from place to place. So I want to know what you guys think. Tweet me at NicholasR11 on Twitter, or just use the hashtag NicksRealTalk. So I'll say thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Nick's Real Talk. This episode was kind of shorter than the last one, but some episodes will be shorter, some will be longer. So since the last episode aired, we have a new website. You can visit us on NicksRealTalk.com, and there are links on that website to listen to us on different platforms like YouTube and Spotify, and YouTube, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and iTunes podcast. Links are all there. So if you want to go directly to that page with all the different links, you can go to NicksRealTalk.com/listen. And this show will be posted every Friday. This episode is being posted on a Wednesday because that's just the date the Stride Network posted. But from now on, these episodes will air on Fridays. So next week, we will see you on Friday next week. Thanks to Stride Entertainment for producing this podcast and making it happen, and thanks to 10 Minute News for sponsoring. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Nick's Real Talk, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.